Joe Spector from the USA Today Network, thanks so much for being here for our Digital Reporter Roundtable on New York Now this week.
Thanks, Dan. Digital indeed.
Yeah, we're doing things very differently nowadays. So
Yes.
I want to start with the governor's briefing on Thursday, where he said something that was very striking. We've been talking about ventilators for weeks now because ventilators are the key here to treat people that are going to the ICU for the coronavirus. He said on Thursday that the state's stockpile would only last, given the trajectory of where things are going, they would only last 6 more days, which seemed like an astounding number to me at the time. But apparently the state has some options going forward. Tell me about what he said they're doing to kind of prepare for the stockpile to run out.
That's right, Dan. It was certainly a scary prognosis when you think about how you look at these charts every single day. We get those briefings every single day, and those numbers just go up and up. The number of cases, the number of deaths exceeded 2,000 on Thursday. And so the problem all along, and Governor Cuomo has talked about it, everyone's talked about it around the country, is the lack of ventilators. And when that day would come, when New York might very well be out of them, and Governor Cuomo indicated that that day might be 6 days away, and that was certainly sobering to hear him say that. But he did try to caution that with the idea that there are, one, trying to procure as many ventilators as they can from around the state, around the world, in fact. But secondly, he talked about the various options that New York might have. That's using ventilators that are used for anesthesia and converting those into ventilators that can be used for people who are suffering from respiratory problems due to coronavirus. There's other types of machines that can be turned into ventilators, perhaps using ventilators. And he's talked about this for a while. Having 2 people on one ventilator, creating tubes that can serve 2 people at once. So those are some of the options they're considering. And, he said he remains hopeful that there'll be enough to serve everyone. But clearly, as you look at the trajectory and the number of ventilators in New York, it's reason for serious concern.
The big hotspot in the state right now is New York City. Over half of the state's cases right now are in New York City. But a month ago, when this all started, which it's crazy to even say that it only started a month ago. A month ago, when this all started, one of our first cases was in New Rochelle, and the USA Today Network has covered that like nobody else. It's been fantastic. What does it look like now in New Rochelle? Have things calmed down? Because maybe that's an indicator of what we'll see going forward.
Well, it is. Thank you for saying that. It has been a fascinating situation in New Rochelle. As far as we know, there was no deaths associated with that cluster in New Rochelle, which in and of itself is remarkable. The patient who is believed to have spread it to congregants in the Young Israel synagogue, he, in fact, was in grave condition, but now he's home and appears to be getting better. It was really a weeks-long saga for the people in New Rochelle. Initially, 1,000 people were quarantined there, and then subsequent to that, about 100 remained on quarantine until about a week ago, when the state finally decided that people did not need a second negative test to come off quarantine. They're going to let people off after they're asymptomatic for a number of days, even after they test positive. And so what's resulted is a positive thing in that earlier this week, people from that congregation started giving blood to researchers at Mount Sinai and other New York City hospitals, hoping that their plasma and their antibodies can be used to help people who are very sick with coronavirus.
That is so cool that they're able to, after recovering from this, hopefully help some other people get through this disease. In terms of the trajectory, we've heard this word several times over the past month. It's an apex, which is, from what I understand, when the state's hospital capacity would meet the number of cases, and maybe we would be overwhelmed. What are we seeing with that? The governor's talked about this in the past few days. Is it 7 days to 30 days? Did I get that right? What are we projecting, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know exactly when that apex would be reached, and I think the governor has talked about that. But every day there's sort of this headline number that comes out of these briefings, and the one from I guess it was Wednesday was that there might be 16,000 people who die in New York. He based that off of some national projections from a group associated with the Gates Foundation. They estimated 100,000 deaths nationwide and 16,000 of those in New York. So that really was, again, another hard to take number. But that's the question. When will the apex be reached? How many people will die from this in New York? Right now, New York is really the epicenter. I mean, it's not even close when you look at the number of cases and deaths. No state is in the position that New York is in.
So let's turn to the state budget, because while the coronavirus pandemic is probably on everybody's minds right now, we also had a spending plan pass this week in Albany. It's huge. I can't believe that they got so much into this thing while also dealing with this global pandemic. So I won't make you talk about all of it, because we have a whole bunch of issues like changes to Medicaid. We have legalization of gestational surrogacy, a ban on flavored vaping products, legalization of e-bikes and e-scooters, which a lot of people were very happy about. You've been covering Albany for more than a lot of people that I know.
Yeah, right.
How is this? How is this
20
budget?
years, I guess.
Yeah.
Keeping track of, yeah.
It's been a little while. How is this budget different from budgets that you've seen in years past? Is it bigger? Is it more complicated? And I guess what sets it apart from other spending plans?
Well, it's like nothing else. I mean, you think about the state budgets after 9/11. You think about the state budgets after the recession in 2008, 2009, when New York had a $17 billion budget in 2010 under then Governor David Paterson. So you're dealing with those kind of numbers as far as the budget deficit will be, but you don't know what the budget deficit's going to be and how it's all going to shake out. I mean, that's certainly one of the main reasons that this sets this apart from other budget years. No one can tell you how much revenue the state is ultimately going to lose when the coronavirus subsides. They're passing a budget really not knowing the extent of the damage, but they had an April 1st deadline. They're a day or two late, but, under the circumstances, timely, certainly to say. And,
Right.
We're going to have to see how it plays out. This isn't a budget where, they pass it and they go home and they say, that's it. We'll see you next year. We'll deal with this. This is going to be a process that's updated quarterly, if not sooner, as they figure out what revenue they have and what they could spend.
And we'll definitely have you back to talk more about it. I don't want to get into the details of the budget because there's just so much. So we will leave it there. Yeah. Joe Spector from the USA Today Network, thank you so much for joining us via Skype for New York Now this week.
You got it, Dan. Thanks.